Bitcoin and crypto at all in the past couple of weeks, you may have noticed it is en fuego, on fire, which is why we asked David Stryzewski, from the Sound Planning Group to, I think you've been here before, David, haven't you?
Yes, sir. Welcome. Thanks for having me back.
Yeah, absolutely. How long has it been? Because when I saw you, I thought, I know him. Has it been a while?
Last year,
like a year.
Probably, yeah, it's been about a year. Good to see you.
All right. Well, it's good to see you again. Good to see you again. And even more importantly, it's good to see what Bitcoin is doing, since I still have a little bit of it. At this moment in time, it is $72,264 per Bitcoin. First of all, what is going on behind this rally of Bitcoin?
Okay, well, there's a couple of things that are very important to understand. First off is the calendar. Now, every 4 years, Bitcoin goes through this time frame called halving. And what that means is literally the amount of coins that you can produce in a day cuts in half. So just basic supply and demand elements here would determine that if there's less supply, well, said another way, the buyers want to buy more than the sellers want to sell, the price goes up. And so right now we're producing about 900 coins a day. That's going to go down to 450 here on April the 20th. And I think that we're actually purchasing somewhere around double that right now on a daily basis, the 900. So it's we're already not producing enough relative to the demand of new dollars and these exchange traded funds. And so a lot of institutional dollars are going into this right now. It's driving the price up in anticipation of this halving time frame.
Well, let me ask you this. You say producing. I thought there was a limited number of Bitcoins out there, and they are being mined. Are you referring to the mining of the Bitcoin as them being produced, them being discovered, I guess? Is that what you mean?
Right. So basically, crypto is takes the most complicated parts about computers and money and combines them in one idea. All right. So it's a little bit tricky to figure out how this ultimately works. So we've got these supercomputers that are solving these very challenging equations here. And so, yes, there are 21 million possible Bitcoin, which is a part of the whole theory here that you need to make it exclusive. You need to make it, finite, unlike the U.S. dollar or other, central banks that just, turn on the printer here and just, let things run. So I think that there's a lot of people here today that are looking at this and saying, oh my goodness, I got to get in before there's, it runs out. Now here's a little secret. It doesn't run out for a few more years. They've got to mine all 21 million, but there have been about 19.5 mined so far. And so, as far as the bulk of them go, they have been mined. I'll note one other component to this, and that is, if you lose your keys, you lose your crypto, as the saying has gone in the past. Well, I personally believe millions of people have, lost their password, or their computer crashed, or however they were storing things got stolen or whatever. That's a big deal here because I think that there's a lot fewer than 21 million actually available, and we'll find out, what's going on here in the future.
So I've often referred to crypto and Bitcoin in particular as the I don't trust or I hate government currency, because it seems like that's how it started, as this alternative trading medium that the ironic thing is you can't touch it. I guess you can technically see it on a ledger, but I mean, you can't hold it. You can't smell it. It doesn't really technically exist except in zeros and ones. But is that still the driving force behind crypto? Is that it is an alternative to things that are controlled by governments?
Yeah, I think both gold and Bitcoin are really, sizing each other up right now. Who is going to be the alternative to, like, the U.S. dollar or fiat currencies that are out there? And by the way, both of them hit all-time highs last Tuesday at the exact same time frame, which was kind of a unique moment because gold hadn't been there for a very long time. So I think the point of things is this: a lot of people today are questioning, hey, what is real money? What has real value? They recognize that, at least in the United States, we're printing like crazy right now, and we've got deficit spending that, is essentially a default on our dollar. And so a lot of people are becoming discouraged, and they're looking for alternatives. And so they're going to look for Bitcoin as one of those options. I'll just be very clear, though, to say this: I do not believe that Bitcoin can solve all the world's problems. It cannot be the currency that everyone uses, even though one coin is able to break down to 100 million individual pieces, or satoshis as they're called. So it can be, granular, but the point is that there's no way that it's going to be, the medium of exchange for every single person on the earth. I do believe it has value, though, and as there's a new balance of power that's kind of coming into play here, we're seeing this speculative move really launch things a lot higher.
Can you explain what you meant by it's granular? It can break down. It's the first I've ever heard somebody say that. What do you mean it can be broken up into tiny little pieces? Exactly.
Okay, well, let's think about it like this. If you were going to go to the grocery store today, you're not going to go and transact one Bitcoin worth of something. That's $72,000 worth of groceries. You haven't done that in a year.
Okay.
Right. So the point is, it can break down into smaller, finite pieces and get into, real world numbers for us if we can figure out a stabilized figure.
You can make change, in other words.
You can make change. There it is. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I'd never heard that before. Is Bitcoin still the granddaddy of them all? I mean, obviously it's the one that seems to have the most oomph, but there are other cryptos out there. Are they doing as well as Bitcoin and gold? I was just looking at gold, like you said, 2185 announced. What was it last Tuesday's 2188? What was the high? Was it 2200? Okay,
it was 2195 or something.
Okay. Are the rest of the cryptos doing as well as Bitcoin, or is it unique to Bitcoin right now?
That is a great question. So, when we talk about Bitcoin, we're talking about just like the first mover, the first blockchain technology, widely accepted. Mm-hmm. And they did a great job with the theory. It's not going away. Alternative coins are definitely launching. And if, on my own personal holdings, now this is not financial advice specifically, I have, quite a bit of these alternative coins as well. So as an example, one called Ethereum or Cardano. Mm-hmm. These are coins. Think about them as more like your algorithms for the future, to connect, us here today. I'm in the greater Seattle area. You're down in Texas. So many different algorithms and ideas had to come together to get the video and the audio and all these things put together. Well, basically, we have a world that is changing right now, and it's decentralizing. And there needs to be more security. There needs to be more, simplicity. And ultimately, these alternative coins give you the ability to basically be the computers of the future. It kind of feels like the internet of 1993. People are like, hey, I'm never going to touch that. And then now we've got Amazon showing up at the door every day. There's a bunch of things that are kind of coming together right now. And so these altcoins, I mean, I've got several that are up well over $100 or 100% here in the last month. And so when the big one moves, a lot of these little guys that have been lagging, haven't got as much attention, they start to get some new capital in them and can really launch. So I personally believe that there is a big future here in alternative coins and how the functionality of these are going to change our day-to-day lives, especially with AI or whatever. I don't know. I mean, there's going to be some positives and negatives to everything, but it is a more efficient system.
Until Skynet takes over and starts to shoot us all from helicopters with lasers on them in the sky, then it's all over. But XRP, have you? What do you see with that one?
Okay, so that's Ripple. Very. Yeah. So Ripple has a very interesting story. So their whole thing is that they want to be the central bank digital currency coin of choice. They are headquartered right now in Hong Kong. So that's actually a big deal because China wants to become the next Wall Street. And so they're really trying to be pro-positive on crypto, which is part of the reason why I think the SEC made their move for the ETF this year, because they need to do something. But with Ripple, they're a medium of exchange. Bank of America actually did 100% of internal transfers on Ripple. I think it was early 2021 through early 2022 when ultimately the SEC said, hey, there's something going on here. Now, Ripple actually won that case. Here's what I can share with you. It's very efficient, very quick. Bank of America thought that was a better way of internally managing assets going across the border and different things. So I can say this. I have spoken with quite a number of Bitcoin multimillionaires and billionaires, and I have been very surprised to hear that many of them are interested in Ripple and also another company out there called Stellar. which has the ability to ultimately tokenize different assets. Can I explain this real quick? Because I should have said this on the alternative coin part.
Sure.
When the world is changing, basically it looks like this. If you wanted to sell a building, right now and you go, you know what, I could go and try to find somebody, raise the capital, etc. Well, what if you could put this inside of a token? You can tokenize this building and sell off percentages of it to different people, but not just any one individual investor. And then that person can trade it or get a loan against it or something else. What blockchain technology is going to give us the ability to do is to tokenize or to get the money into or these assets into an alternative world that isn't necessarily the SWIFT banking system that the United States is ultimately overseeing. And so there is a lot of change that's taking place here, but this is going to be the biggest one because ultimately you can tokenize anything. You could sell your car this way. You could sell stocks this way. You could be a recording artist going into coffee shops and you could say, hey, I'm selling my album. If you believe in me, not just buy my album here, buy shares of my album. And if my songs work out, you'll make money too. And so that's a way that they might be able to make some money as a coffee shop, performer.
And the world is definitely changing. There's no doubt about that. And the whole was it the non-fungible tokens, the NFTs? Like at one point, CNN was selling these NFTs. I guess are those still a thing?
Okay, so here's my deal on NFTs. It doesn't make sense to me that people are spending bazillions of dollars for some simple little deal that's on a computer. Here's where I can see NFTs really working out. Okay, you go to the Super Bowl, just happened a month ago, right? And so this is a really big deal. It's a very expensive event. Your favorite team, you go out and do it. Well, what if you had a coin, an NFT that had, beautiful picture, something to commemorate it. Maybe it moved. Maybe you could, inside of your wallet, you could link pictures to it. And that's now, with a memory. I think that you can do this for concerts. I think that you can use NFTs for things that you would want to remember. Go to Disneyland. Hey, I got my picture taken with, Mickey Mouse. Here's my NFT. That's if we have wallets that we're keeping all these things on. So I think the technology is early on that. I think that that's the biggest speculation of everything out there, but there's definitely an application for it and it's not to be dismissed. I just don't think that we fully understand what's going on, nor do we have the companies in place today that are actually using this technology in a way that we're all saying, I got to do that going forward. Otherwise, it's just not the same experience. But I do believe it's going to improve our experience if we do that, keep those memories going.
Young minds, fresh ideas. So tell me what the Sound Planning Group is all about and where we can find it.
Okay, so sure. So Sound Planning Group, my father actually started our company 26 years ago. I took over in 2010. Our whole goal is to basically be the last retirement firm and financial firm that people are looking for. And so we do retirement income planning. So we do wealth management. We got 30 different portfolios. And yes, for those who are interested, Bitcoin can be a part of that now that the SEC has given us the ability to do some of that. They don't let me talk much about it, though. So what we specialize in doing is actually teaching people how to mitigate their taxes and ultimately fund their retirement in, based on how everything flows down to their 1040. It's a very different approach to, how do I save money? When should I retire? And I got a new book coming out here called Riding Bulls and Taming Bears, Investing for Retirement in the 21st Century. If people want to learn more about who we are, track a little bit about what I've got to say going on, I got a couple of places to do so. I'll say this, fedbubble.com. fedbubble.com. I believe that the Federal Reserve is the actual cause of the bubbles that we're about to see pop here and take place in the next quarters and years as we move forward. But that gives people a good opportunity to see a little bit of the work that we're doing, ask a few questions of the things that are going on. But also they can reach out to our team, 425-821-9442, if they are interested in, asking some questions and trying to identify, hey, how much might I be able to save in taxes in retirement? Maybe get extra money out of the Social Security system. There's a lot of people today that are really going to, need this type of advice if they're going to make it, unfortunately, with higher inflation and a less certain future.
Right. Well, you know, Ron and I are so independently wealthy that we occasionally will walk down the street tossing $100 bills out simply because, well, we do. We want the little people to, you know, have be able to take part in our good fortune. So we'll put all your info in the. You know, it's not easy being such a philanthropist, but every now and then. We'll put all your info in the show notes. And just real quickly, before I let you go, the government and their digitizing of the dollar, good, bad, indifferent?
Not a big fan. I don't really trust the fact that they want to get rid of cash. You know, cash is essentially an after-tax receipt. If I gave you $50 and then you give it to someone and we transact 25 times, still 50. If we do that through a bank ledger, well, they're taking little fees every single time. My money's worth less. It's disappearing in that case. And so ultimately, that's not as efficient of a system. The central bank digital currency is, you know, I think is definitely coming. The one I'm more concerned about is the Fed Now program. People can Wikipedia that and they can learn about it more for themselves. But ultimately, the US dollar is getting rivaled right now. I believe the petrodollar is for sure getting challenged as Saudi Arabia just joins those BRIC nations here as of January 1st. So this is not a time to be, you know, sitting back complacent about our money, where things are going, how we should be allocating today, because if this thing changes the way that it could be so significant that it leaves a lot of people, you know, really in want as the old ideas didn't really work out here in the future.
It's a brave new world. David Stryzewski from the Sound Planning Group will put, again, all of your info in our show notes, and appreciate your time. And we need to have you back more often because you're a smart guy. We need more people like you. So I'm sure we'll be talking again soon.
I appreciate you guys. You bet. Thank you. Appreciate it.